Alright, so now you have your wall types set up or ready to start drawing our house. You can always go back and edit these. If you change the thickness, you are going to edit, be changing your model a little bit, so keep that in mind. But you can always go back and pick a different color brick, different color stone. So if you don't have that set right now, that's okay. As long as the wall thickness is good and everything's set up, you're good to go. So I'm going to start in level 1. So I'm going to move over to level 1 here. And I'm going to delete what I have. Now if you notice, these little call outs here, these are actually a call out. This is your south elevation, this is your north, east and west. If I click on this little triangle, this is a section line that cuts in, so you want to draw kind of right in the middle of these, and we'll do some orbiting later on as we get things set up for the correct size of your house. So I'm going to go to the wall tool. I'm going to begin with my stone walls I work around my house. Now if you look up top, every time you select a tool, this is your tool options along the top here. Right now it's unconnected height at 20 feet, so it's not snapping anything. If you know these are going up to the second floor, you could select, if they're going all the way up to your roof line, you could select level 3 for them to draw to. Or you could use the default 20 feet and change it later. I'm going to have these go up to level 2 as I start to draw around. One of the things to keep in mind when I draw, so I have this stone wall here, if I zoom in, now again I have my fine detail on down here. If I zoom in, I can tell what side of the wall is the exterior, and that's to the top side. So as you draw around, you want to pay attention to your wall and make sure it's in the right direction. Now after you draw it, you can flip it. So if you click the wall, you can flip the interior and exterior of that wall depending on if you drew it wrong. You also get these dimensions that pop up. So as you draw that wall, you might come in here and say, okay, you know what, that needs to be exactly 30 feet. You'll type that in. You can type as you go as well. So if I go back to my wall tool and I'm snapping in here, I can simply type in, if I want this to be 16 feet, I can type that in and continue to work around. Now that's based off my wall center line right now. There's different ways to draw your center line. That's another thing up here in tool options. So if I go back and click on that wall again, the line location right now is my wall center line. So if you're worried about your interior rooms, you might use, core face interior or finish face interior. Again, that goes back to where those green lines are. You might use finish face exterior if you know exactly where that needs to be. And take a look at, you see the dashed blue line, that's my line it's basing that off of. That's my exterior face. If I do that same wall and I now go through and decide that's going to be finished faced interior, notice how the blue line is now towards the bottom of that line as I draw that. That's going to change whether you're drawing left or right, so kind of take a look at how that's working. Up here, these are different ways you can draw. So right now I'm just drawing with a line, but you might decide you're going to start with a rectangle and type that in. You might need an arc. Hopefully you're not doing crazy octagons and other kinds of shapes, but basic lines and arcs and stuff along that line. So I'm going to go through and draw the outside of my house to the best with my dimensions. And then I'm going to show you how to add dimensions and kind of clean things up before we get too much further. So what I'd like you to do is just kind of start with your wall, and I'm going to have mine, again, mine goes up to level 2. If you know all of your walls go all the way up to level 3, your second floor, you can select that, or you can just leave it at the default 20. We can change it later. What I'd like you to do is go around using your sketch and do your best job putting your exterior walls in, and then I'm going to have another video that shows you how to put dimensions on those and clean those up in just a couple moments here. So again, just as you're drawing, pay attention to what tool you're using. Again, we're just in the wall tool here, but take a look at some of the different line locations, whether you're using center line or finished faced exterior. Probably don't want to mess with offsets too much, but if I had an offset of 2 feet in here, anything I snap to, it's going to pull that. Well, I'm still in the rectangle there. Anything I come off there, it's going to pull a line that's 2 feet away, whatever you have typed in there. So pay attention to that kind of stuff as you're drawing. Most likely you're going to keep this at 0, and you're just going to draw around the outside, and then we'll come back and look at some dimensions.